Welcome to Nature Aquariums. In today's video, we're going to be planting the 130-gallon display tank. But before we get into the video, please like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, and let's get right into the video. And let's try to get some of these plants in there. So, I don't know how familiar you guys are, but there is a plant called Hygrophila pinnatifida. Okay, this is a very, very cool plant. It's hard to find, and I was able to get it in a tissue culture. The leaves are going to grow about that long, and they're zigzaggy, and they have reds and dark greens. And it looks like an Aralia, which is a house plant, but it's really, really colorful. In most of the scapes, they use it usually coming out of the woodwork. And I've had a hard time getting that plant, and I was so lucky I was able to get some. The rest of them are available in tissue culture in the fridge. So I bought all the plants that I'm putting in here. I bought extra, and they're all in the planter. So if you guys want to pick up a bunch or something, you can. So people ask us, how do you pull the tissue culture plants? Soak them in water, and it'll start dissolving the gel. Wow. And then you'll be able to pull them out. So while I'm talking, I'm gonna let these dissolve. While we're talking about plants, so this is Flamingo Crypt. So one of them I reserved, and it's gonna go into the tank. It's a very rare plant. This was in one pot, by the way, and it looks like one plant. I actually was able to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants out of a single pot of crypt. Usually the way crypts work, they propagate along a rhizome, and you get additional plantlets. So always, if you're very, very careful and gentle. The other thing I'm going to say is always go and trim your roots for the plants. What's nice is when you trim them and you plant them, you stimulate the plant to actually go into growth mode, because it's that's a real big trick. Yeah. So whenever you move them, always trim the roots. If you're dealing with a sword, so this I kind of wanted to show you. So this came into the pot. You're going to get it with the rock wool. Always pull the rock wool out, and some of the rock wool comes out. So this one, as long as the roots are up to 2 inches, it's fine. If they're longer than 2-3 inches, trim them. I did most of the leg work, guys. You're not going to see me for 2 hours here taking rock wool out. I did it last night. I was here till late, but I left just a couple just to give as a show and presentation. So a couple of the plants I'm going to be putting. This is an Aponogeton.
Nice.
And Aponogentons are in the family of yes, it's a bulb family. Very good. And it's in the same family as the Madagascar lace. The problem with Madagascar lace is that the bulb once a year goes into remission sometimes.
Right.
And it'll die off, and then it'll come back again. This is a different Aponogeton that should not be going into remission, and I'm planting a couple of them to help with that. So the bulb is actually a source of nutrition for the plant. So it stores the energy as the plant. See, this is a much younger plant that doesn't have the bulb yet. It will grow the bulb, and these will get really tall. These are really big plants, which is why I'm putting them in kind of in the corner, and they'll kind of flow that way. And it's to kind of give it that wild look. You don't ever want to put this in the front. Won't be a good thing. So people ask me, how do you get stuff in? One of the reasons why I like these soils work so well is that when you plant, if you kind of shake your tweezers back and forth as you're planting, you go deeper and deeper, and it actually almost starts sucking in the plant. So it works really well. Now what? I'm going to need more soil there. If you go to the Amazon, the earth is all clay, and that's why everything grows in the farmland is incredible, because it holds on to the nutrients.
How interesting.
So, yeah, it's interesting. I had to do an emergency landing in Manaus, which is in the middle of
Brazil.
Yeah, of the Amazon in a 747 back in the 80s because two engines caught on fire. And the airport back at the time could not take planes that big. And so all the sides were just orange clay dirt. So what I'm doing now is kind of filling in with the smaller substrate all the nooks and crannies.
Oh,
So you can rinse it in dechlorinated water.
Correct.
So if you grab a bucket, put your prime in there, and then just wash it with
Yes.
dechlorinated water, you'll be fine. And then keep it wet so you don't kill the bacteria. Boosie really doesn't do well planted because the rhinozone needs, it's like an anubia, it needs to stay above the soil. So if you have really long roots, yes, you could stick it, just the long roots, but the rhinozone needs to stay above the soil, otherwise it rots. So this over here, it's Hydrocotyle Brazil. There's a couple of different hydrocotyle, which it kind of looks like four-leaf clover. This version is from Brazil. It's got larger leaves, and it will grow all the way to the surface of the tank.
Henry, I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm noticing that this plant doesn't have any roots,
Mm-hmm.
so therefore, would you like soak it in water, let it develop its roots, or just stick
But
it
once
in
you put it in the tank, it's gonna take off.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not doing dry start. So what's gonna end up happening, those roots are gonna pull from the water column, and then they're gonna shoot down, and then they're gonna grip onto the soil.
Okay, so the stem, like the xylem, it's not gonna rot, right?
Nope, it's actually gonna,
Shoot roots.
yeah,
Do those grow tall, Henry?
yes. And I really do want it to kind of grow wild in between
I like that.
there.
I like that.
So that's why I'm planting it around the root structure, because the swords are gonna lose these round leaves. They're gonna actually be long leaves.
Okay.
So those are the immersed. So with swords and crypts, they have two types of leaves. When they're out of water, it's a leaf that can take in carbon dioxide from the bottom, but the top is waxy and stiff so it can remain rigid out of water. When the plant is submersed, sorry, immersed is above, then it loses those leaves and it grows leaves that can have stomata to take in CO2 from the top and the bottom. So those leaves are all gonna melt, they're gonna brown out and die, and we're
Yeah.
gonna have skinny leaves in the back. So that's why I wanted the hydrocotyle, which is gonna get wispy and with round leaves kind of growing in the front and hopefully floating in the surface.
Henry, now question of lighting for the sword plants.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever like the new leaves come out, you want to make sure that it gets very low light so that way it reaches to the top, correct?
Well, this is gonna be with
Low light.
CO2, so
Low light.
the CO2 is really gonna advance the growth.
Okay.
If you were doing a non-CO2 tank, then yes, you don't want to have too strong of a light.
Correct.
But on a CO2 is going to drive the growth pretty strong. So what's nice is that these LED lamps, they're from O&F, a Korean company,
Nice.
and I can actually dial up or down the plant growth pretty big. It's really nice. This is Limnophilia arcuata. I'm butchering the name, so I'm sorry. I did not take Latin, okay? But what's nice, it does have a nice purple flower. You guys,
Is it immersed?
It will grow both.
Okay.
So it will grow underwater, and then the immersed version will have the flowers.
Nice.
So what I kind of wanted to do is to kind of grow out of the
Cool.
the tank. This is another bunch plant having a brain.
Brain fog.
Yes. So I'm going to leave until I get some water going. But one of my favorite plants is Rotala wallacei, and these are the real fuzzy reddish plants. We have them in there. But they're not going to stand up really well until I get some water in here. So next thing I'm going to plant are some crypts. And this is Crypt spiralis. And the nice thing with this crypt, it stays green with bronze colored stems. And it's very long, wispy leaves. Crypts will propagate, but it's a very cool crypt.
Let's go this way.
Hello, come on in. We're open. Come on in.
Sorry.
No, we're just doing an aquarium presentation, which you're welcome to join. And you can shop all the way around. We also have refreshments here, Jamaican food.
I'm sorry to disrupt.
You're not disrupting. This is an open,
guys.
fun experience for the whole
We
family.
appreciate it. Thank you.
You're in luck. If you have time, you have luck.
Ali over here.
Come here, bud. This way.
This over here is dwarf Sagittaria. You guys are familiar with it? One of the things I'm doing with the dwarf Sagittaria is I'm sticking it in around this to kind of look like grasses sticking out from the scape. All right, so we should get a little vote. Where should I put the pink flamingo? Where'd the pink flamingo go?
How is it? How big?
There we go. Wow. All right, this is where we get a little interaction. Our star of the show, where should we put the pink flamingo? Okay, I get a vote for the front.
How high is that going to grow? It's gonna
About-
go that high.
Yeah. So you guys think somewhere around over here?
Put it right.
Maybe along here, this front edge? What's everybody think? Yeah, so we'll pull
How about
this
right
guy
there,
out.
Right here.
Yeah, but it,
Right there.
It's a rock.
How about if we do two of them here and two on that side? You guys good with that?
I can do it.
All right.
I have to put it in my hands.
$29.95 right over there. Yeah, I think this is a nice choice.
That's a nice place.
And I think,
For that rock.
how about over here?
Yes.
So as you can see, I'm not planting anything on the sand
Bigger tanks.
because
But,
I want to have that as kind of like the contrast and the clean.
Like a negative space.
Yes. And then the other thing I'm doing is in the shade, because there is some shading, I'm putting kind of like a ground cover, these different crypts. But I did put in some of the stem plants and the tall ones all kind of mixed in. So you'll have the highs and the lows, but they're not going to be super high. I mean, these are all going to stay about this height. We have some green Wendetti, green cryptocarine. And these stay nice and compact and green. Pass it to the back. So you guys feel like you're back in school, right? Passing the show.
Yeah.
There we go. Don't ever say coming over here didn't make you feel young, okay? All right. I'm still adding a couple more stem plants. Now, I know some of you guys may cringe, but this is anacris. And anacris is a weed, but
I love it.
it's a really cool weed that with CO2 pearls. So I have anacris pearling in our non-CO2 tanks here with good lighting, and you just see the pearling. And it'll grow a really cool shade of green, and I'm just gonna plug in a couple of places random, so it's gonna give it, and then I can trim it and replant it, but it'll give a nice pearling effect to it. So, everybody remembers the gel plant?
Yes.
It's all completely now dissolved, and I can go and start planting.
And does it go tall?
Yes,
I think I've seen
this
that
stuff should
actually.
stay about this high. You're welcome. So I have a question for you guys. I'm toying around with the idea of doing a real workshop so that in the event that you guys would pay like probably 65 to 75 bucks, with it you would get a micro tank, rimless tank, soil, rock, wood, and we all work together on a table, and we do the design, follow along, and everybody gets to build it, and you take it home with you.
I'm in.
I'm in.
Okay,
A micro tank? That's a
micro tanks, yes,
Does
yes.
it come with a light?
I'm trying to figure out the monies. So this is, I think what probably would include would be the tank and the stuff, and then you would get your own filter. But it would be at a much discounted price than if you were to buy it separately. So I'm working with UNS, Ultim, which I'm their only authorized dealer, and I'm trying to work that up so in January I can start doing those workshops.
That would be
But I
really
wanted
cool.
to get a feedback of what you guys would think.
You didn't see me, I was in too.
Oh, you too?
Yeah,
Okay.
me too.
Henry, how much? Well, how much workshop is it?
Huh?
Price?
Probably it's gonna be between 65 and 75 bucks.
Yeah.
And we could work on it here
Yes.
and have it everything
And
what you
yes.
want to do.
Mhm. Yeah, you would get a certain amount and,
Yeah, you get a certain amount. If you want more, you can purchase
That would be
it.
fun.
right,
And then take it home, really.
and it's yours. No, you would build it here and then you can take it home.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Take it home and then.
So what I'm adding next is African bulbitis.
Smaller than that, right?
Probably it's gonna be, I don't know, I'm still working on the, so guys, I'm working with the president of Ultim Nature and to try to work because I need them to give me a reduction so I can pass it on to you guys. So this is African bulbitis. And what bulbitis is, it's a fern from Africa. It grows underwater and it's best attached to wood.
How big is gonna be it?
This one is not the dwarf. This is the regular one, so it's gonna have leaves about this big. All right, so the next thing we're gonna put is gonna be Nana Petite. Whichever side is the light, always plant this side up. Should never be buried in the substrate, otherwise it'll rot. All right, so for ground cover, I'm actually gonna plant some glosso and hair grass. And glosso is glossostigma, which is a ground cover plant. It really needs CO2. It doesn't do well without CO2. And the way they grow it, it's very leggy. Normally you want to trim it and keep it compact. So this will grow in runners. But one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to mix in, usually the common trend of planting glosso is that you do a whole carpet of glosso. It's going to try to grow tall, and this is a plant that I'm going to have to go in there and trim constantly. So now, as long as the aquarium gods don't want to disappoint me, everything should go well.
Now you have another one on the other side too,
I
right?
will.
Right.
We sold it, so.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
There you go.
Great, thank you. That's the black one.
Oh, and then here, let me give you guys a little show on the light.
Change color, like,
Oh.
No,
I think it's the light. I think it's the,
maybe it's too strong.
yeah. Because my brother has a certain.
So let's work on the left one. So this light can go, that's 75%. Now it's at 100. I can bring it down to 5%. And you see how it dims down?
Yeah.
That's 50%. And it slowly ramps it up, taking it back to 100%. Now the color can go from 65K to 3K.
Yeah, all right, that one.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have flowers.
Color temperature.
Yes.
We'll get it, probably.
But no, the right question. For the plants, the whites or the
Thanks for watching, and that's it for today's video. Please like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out any of our future videos.